All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? This is the Nabi back again. And let me see where I'm at. All right, hold on. All right, there we go. All right, so we got a couple of things to get kicking here. And for you that's coming on to join, this is going to be an important topic. I've been covering this on TikTok. I've been covering this on TikTok for a minute. All right. And I had made it a point that I was going to discuss this matter on YouTube Live. And basically, because I think this is an important subject that we all need to address. One of the reasons why we need to address it, well, for two reasons. The group, the one group that this Supreme Court decision is not going to affect. What's up, Nesserman? The one group that this Supreme Court decision is not going to affect is us, the Afro men. All right, let me repeat that again. The one group that this thing is not going to affect is the Afro man. And the reason why this little move right here by the Supreme Court won't affect Afro men is that the Afro men benefited the least from this affirmative action program. Allow me to repeat what I just said. The people that lost the most fighting for said belief. I want you to understand this. All right, now, the other thing you must learn, all right, Edward Blum. All right, you need to know who he is. Edward Blum, hold on, is the one that is responsible Edward Blum is the one that is responsible for what you see that just happened. Edward Blum is the one who paid. I want y'all to understand this. He is the one who paid this group. All right. And basically, if you want to really dig into the weeds, this has racism written all over it. All right. This has racism written all over it. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. What happened is that, and understand, I'm not saying this racism is in all Asians, but When we talk about the leader of these groups, and this is why, here's the thing. These so-called Republican hacks, whether they be black people, whether they be other Asian people, I don't care what you call them. They turn out to be some of the most racist against Afro people that I know. Okay? They really do. And this is not by design. See, what's happening here is the United States of America, what they're doing is they are recruiting anyone who would come in and be against Afro men in particular. And y'all might not see that that's what's happening, but I want y'all to pay attention to all the stuff that's been going on. Hold up. I want y'all to pay attention to all the things that have been going on. When you look at what's been going on, you'll notice some things. Whether they be of any race, as soon as the Caucasian man gets involved with adding them to any movement, you will quickly learn that the movement that they take part in is primarily designed to disenfranchise Afro men. Afro men is the target. Make no mistake with that. Afro men are the target. They are targeting us. All right. So, Mr. Blum, hold on, let me get this straight. So, Mr. Blum, right? Hold on, let me do this real quick. So y'all know who these people are. Because when we have adversaries this wicked, right? This guy name is Edward Blum. So y'all are probably watching me make these things as I go. All right. But I want it to be clear who these people are. All right, so let me change the color. So people could really be aware of who these people are. Edward Blum and Kenny Chu. Kenny Chu, because it's an X. Now, the reason why this is significant, there we go. So let's see where we're at. Let's see who popped in too. So the reason why this is going to be a discussion that we can all be a part of. Now, before I really get started, get started, and I want to play the video of Mr. Kenny Chu's statement of how he thinks about Afro people. All right. When you hear it, it's going to sound like some of the most racist things that have ever been said about Afro people. All right. So if you brothers can, please go and share this with whomever you can real quick. All right. So if you can, go share this. All right. And there's a reason why these 3 pictures are in this thing. All right. And keep in mind, this is about Harvard, how they feel like they're not getting into Harvard. So basically, if y'all can do me a favor real quick, because this is important, and I want more of a discussion. I'm gonna bring out some points, but I want there to be more of a discussion. So let me put the link to join the live. And the only people I'm allowing in this discussion are brothers. The BW can come and listen, but until I do not see her as an agent, until I don't see them as agents, I won't have them. I won't allow them to have any part in this discussion, in the discussions that's affecting Afro men. All right, they don't get to have a part in it. For a while, they have been an extreme part of the problem in our community, and we'll get into that too. All right, when I say that, what is going on here? Okay, when I say what is going on here, all right, there is a significant problem. All right, there's a significant problem, and everything has been weaponized against us Afro men. So if somebody want to join now, you can, and we'll discuss this. Preferably somebody that's been going in and out, or are aware, or someone who's aware of the education system already as it stands. All right. So here's the link. There it is. So it's up. The link is up for let me get a couple more people in here real quick. All right, hold on for a second. All right, I want to get a few more people in here, a few in particular. All right, that's been asking me for a while. When are you going to do this? When are you going to do another live? So I'm up here now, and this is why I tell people to subscribe to this channel, because for the moment, this is the channel I'm going to do the live on. All right, this is the channel I'm going to do the live. Hold on. All right. So, but basically, so this is what's going on. All right. So let me give you the breakdown of what's really happening, the real deal, the big fig Newton. All right. So what we have here is we have this dude, Edward Blum. All right. And what happened is Mr. Edward Blum has been trying to disenfranchise Afro people since they passed the Civil Rights Act. Kenny Xu, and other Chinese formed a group to also disenfranchise Afro people. And understand this. I want y'all to really understand this about what's going on. What is going on had never been about Asians not getting into Harvard. It is that Asians felt like they were the only ones that should get into Harvard. Well, let's not say Asians, this group of Chinese. All right. Because we got to be careful when we say Asian, because who's been on the side of Afro people have been one, the Filipinos. The Filipinos have been cool. All right. For the most part, Southeast Asians have been cool with the Afro community. All right. The Japanese don't give a hoot nanny. All right. As you know, TikTok is run by Chinese too. And there is a lot of racism on that app. All right. And the type of racism in the algorithm, especially that the app uses, has been well investigated and well studied by scientists. It's been well reported on. And so basically, what's happening is not only do we have a situation in which people are trying to have this racial bias against Afro people, not only do we have this situation, and primarily the men. All right. The other situation is this, that we shouldn't give a damn. Right? We should not give a damn. Now, when I go back to the original picture, when we go back to this, what's going to happen is we are not, as Afro men, going to be affected the way Black women and white women will be affected. What's up, young boy 24? We will not be affected in the way that white women and Black women will be affected, right? Now that this is gone, and when the Chinese don't get in, who are they going to blame? Because what's happening is, and this is why I say this is a racist group, the way we should see it as Afro people. All right. One is his language he used on Fox, right? And not only was it his language he used, because he isn't too political, we're going to listen to his speech on Fox. Because he isn't too political, what he did was put down every group of people outside of the Chinese, saying that the Chinese were exceptionalism. And I'm going to say this, that out of this group, what I see is copycats of those seeking to do racism against Afro people, like the Caucasians that seeking to do racism against Afro people. Okay, now, how did I come to this conclusion? Brothers, we all know how they word things now. Instead, because they can't say the N word, Caucasians are now saying basketball. And basketball don't mean black men. It means the N word. So that's their way around it. So one of the things is that, hey, what's up? The link is up. If you would like to come on So if y'all want to pop on and discuss this, because this is a discussion that we as Afro men should have. So the link is up for those that want to come in. All right. But I want to hear your response to this. Now, the reason why I got the Chinese dude, right, that had the complaint. He was paid for by Mr. Edward Blum. And so we're going to break down some numbers real quick. All right. And y'all should pretty much know what they are. But if you don't know, let's break them down. The Chinese or the Asians, let's say Asians, the Asian group had the highest representative of admissions out of all other minorities combined. Did you hear what I just said? The Asian group representative had more representation in Harvard than all other minorities combined. All right. So when I'm calling this out for what it is, there's a reason for it. Now, hey, welcome, Mr. Pirate Brain.
How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right. All right. So now when I make this claim, all right, what is the percentage of Asians that were admitted to Harvard versus all other minorities?
I don't know that answer.
Okay. They were 30%.
Oh, God.
All right, 30%.
So he was paid to just go up there and lie.
All right. No, remember, I'm saying this is racism for a reason. All right. And just hold on for a minute before you comment, because I got a video to show you, and then I want to hear a bunch of responses, and that's why I'm opening up this early, right? Mm-hmm. So 30% of Asians, which is more than all other minorities combined. So he's lying, right? Mr. Xu is lying. They formed a group, and in my opinion, it seemed racist to me against Afro people for two reasons. All right. Reason number one, hold on. What is the percentage of legacy people that were admitted to Harvard? Hold on. What is the percentage of legacy admissions to Harvard? Hold it. What is the percentage of legacy admissions to Harvard? Okay. Now, all right. So the percentage of legacy admissions was 33 to 40%. In some cases, in some years, 67. Hold on, 43%. Okay, here we go. Mental OG has it. 67% legacy admissions. Now, what do we know about the legacy admissions? The majority of legacy admissions, almost all of them, are Caucasians. What else do we know about legacy admissions? Their grades were not near as good as all of the minorities. So the minorities that get accepted into Harvard, so the Harvard don't go looking for, oh, we need some black people, so let's get the C average student to come into Harvard. No, there's a lot of 4.0 high scoring SAT people. And so all these people getting into Harvard, a lot of them tell their stories about how the struggle it was to get into Harvard. Because even with the admissions looking for them, they're only looking for the top cream of the crop. They're not letting C students in to Harvard unless you are legacy. Legacy students get a huge bump, and their grades are demonstratively lower, and their achievements are lower than all the people that have to really work to get in there. So they have some hurdles, but they have less hurdles. They have less hurdles than anyone else. Okay? And so basically, so when Mr. Chu comes after black people, and he specifically was coming after black people, and this is when I call racism, it's for a reason, right? Because remember, I said this before. I said we need to get to a point where they get rid of affirmative action. Now, the reason why I got the white woman in the picture, because the biggest, hugest benefactors of affirmative action are white women. And the reason why the biggest benefactors of affirmative action is white women, because there was a senator, we'll get to him in a little bit. There was a senator that placed in the affirmative action bill of 1964 to 1965 the word gender, and the reason why he put put that in there is because he was in cahoots with eugenicist feminist movement. He was in cahoots with the eugenicist feminist movement. And so the ladies came to him, they said, we need to gut this so that white women could take advantage. And so he put gender, thereby making, and y'all heard me say this, a group that is the majority of the majority. So white women are the majority of the white people in the United States, who are the majority of all other people. Only combined do we outnumber them, right? And so, you get to the other problem that they have, right? And so there's something else y'all need to know. The Asian population is now and this is why they're picking on Afro people. They are picking on Afro people, and people need share this this part. People are picking on Afro people because of the ABW, the black woman. And why are they picking on us because of the black woman? Because the black woman summarily have destroyed the community and Afro people. How did they destroy us? Abortion. We could recover from a bad community. We can recover from bad people if we have children and teach the children to do better. If children see, we got to do better than these grown old heads that don't know how to handle themselves, right? But we don't have no children to do that because they deleted them all through abortion. They aborted them all, primarily males. And then they allow activities into the culture that said to women, you don't need no man, you don't need to be having their children, because we're going to do the same customs of Caucasians. The black women brought that into the Afro community, into a primarily spiritually conservative community, to the point that there is no spirituality left there. Because without good men, you have no spiritual cycle. The community, the entire community is out of order. And there's not a damn thing you could do about it. Right? And so, because they're aborting all of us, everybody is catching and surpassing us in numbers. We are going to go extinct politically too. Hey, what's up? Simplify USMC vet. What's up, Menthol G? Who else? Zimaloo, I got you. Yumbo 24, got you. All right, Mr. Pyran, you up in here. Okay, now
Can I
that we
say
have the,
something real quick?
go ahead.
We're already extinct politically.
Oh, hell yeah.
We think
Yeah.
we're going to be able to do something, not voting, holding our votes unless we get reparations. But black women are going to vote Democrat. They're not going to go. They're not going to listen to us.
No, exactly. That's the point. So politically, we're extinct because black women, their only side that they are on, the reason why they came out with the program, the reason why white women and black women are the biggest number in affirmative action, because white women generally marry their Caucasian men in these and they get in these corporations. When they go and come out of these schools, these corporations meet their minority quota by hiring their wives. So the white men have always been benefiting off of affirmative action. And you can't really blame them, right? We had our own stuff and we could, and granted, we had our own stuff. Caucasians went and they mutilated our communities, burnt them to the ground, flooded them, and massacred many Afro people because we were getting ahead. We could have rebuilt instead of join them and let them come in and put people in to take over our communities and have us spend our money on a bunch of other people that weren't a part of our community and that didn't put anything in. They redlined the Chinese into the Afro community and they sucked all the money out and then turn around and talk bad about the Afro people. Okay, so they did this, right? And so basically, hold on, let me see how I'm going to do this. So basically, herein lies the issue. The issue for us is this. I'm gonna see if I can play it like that. The issue for us is this, right? The only way that we would be able to resolve this is for Afro men to do with the number. I told you we were given one main commandment when we were created, and that was to be fruitful and multiply. And this means that the Afro man was always supposed to have more than one wife. That's why I showed you the scripture in Deuteronomy. It gives a scripture on how we're supposed to conduct our wives. When the Most High talked to David in his sin he committed against Uriah, the reason why the Most High was pissed at him, because he said, I gave you many wives, and yet and still you went and slept with another man's wife and then had this man killed. That's what the Most High was mad at. And David was not the apple of the Most High's eye. So you better watch when white people are translating these Bibles, wanting you to worship a king that the Most High did not approve of. And how do you know he didn't approve of David? Because he cursed his family. And he cursed David. How do you know he cursed David? Because the other scripture in the 15th chapter, in the same chapter, 21, 22, and 15, when you give your inheritance, it goes to the oldest son. So the kingship should have went to Absalom, but it didn't. It went to Solomon. What did Solomon do? Solomon, if you know your history, biblical history, he is the one that destroyed Israel. Wait a minute, but who was Solomon?
Can I tell you something, Nabi?
Hold that thought. Let me just put this little
because this will put a lid.
Solomon? Hold on. Let me say this real quick. Who was Solomon? Solomon was the son he had from the woman he committed adultery with. Let that sink in, y'all. Go ahead, add your piece.
I've been having lately this fight with my father, and I think I told you that I call my father up several times a week to check on him, see if he's doing okay. I always honor my father, My brother is 6 years younger than me. I'm 62. I'll be 62 in August. And he's been living with my father, stealing from his bank accounts uh, thousands of dollars. And my father calls me up. Now, I'm the firstborn. My father calls me up and says, well, since you got a house and your daughter has a house, I'm going to leave the house to Jeffrey, my brother. I said, I'm the firstborn son. I said, why are you calling me up to tell me this? Because you're wrong. You're out of order. Because if you sold the house and made us sell it and split it, that would be fair. But to give it all to him so he can smoke it up in crack is not. You're out of line with that. And his wife hasn't divorced him yet. Even though they've been separated for 2 years, you know why she hasn't divorced him? She's waiting for
She
you to
wait on
give
the
him the
house.
house. Right. So I said, he's going to lose the house. Either way, he's going to lose it. And,
Oh,
and,
I'm gonna
and
tell you. Hold it. Is it in how? Is it in Texas?
it's in Maryland.
Okay, because some of the times, if the person has a felony, you can't leave them anything because they'll come and take it.
Well, he's in Maryland, but here's the thing. He, in a moment of clarity, put my daughter on the deed. So he can't leave it to Jeffrey.
Right. And here's the other thing. If he was to sell it, he's supposed to give you the larger portion being the firstborn. Now, with that said, here's a point. David was tortured the last 16 years of his life. Not only that, the people and prophets start calling David the son of the devil, and they would throw rocks at him. So much so that David knew that he had so much blood on his hands from his wickedness that when the soldiers wanted to retaliate against the people, he said, "No, I can't let you do it." Right? And so, and the reason why he left the kingdom to Solomon was because the wicked woman that he committed adultery with got in his ear and said, "No, leave it to my son instead of your eldest son." And the people never been right. But you know whose fault it still was? The people. Because remember, Second Samuel, we're not supposed to have kings. Anyway, no one is supposed to rule over us. The man rules over his home. We come together, and at an appointed time when we need leaders, the Most High. This is what a Messiah is. It's an appointed leader at the time you need a leader, right? For a mass project, say like to go to war with somebody, right? And have a sitting army. And so basically, in Samuel, he said this thing to want a king to be like the Philistines and everybody else is evil in the eyesight of God. And if you want this king, this is what's going to happen to you, right? So we're not supposed to have people that is supposed to be leading us because you see what it got us now. You got all these so-called civil rights leaders that didn't do nothing because they're afraid to get with honest people who were kind of prophets like Malcolm and even Martin Luther King to a lesser degree. They didn't want that heat. They didn't want that smoke. They wanted to get paid, live a comfortable life, and make money every time there was an event. Okay? And so basically, now only the Most High is supposed to rule over it. That's right. And that's why he gave us the commandments. The commandments rule us. Uh-huh. Yeah. And so basically, yeah, Absalom was supposed to be given the kingdom. Now, so with all that said, now let's get into the racism and let me see if y'all can see this. Okay. First, let me see if y'all can hear this. We'll get back to this. Let me see if y'all can hear this. This was a Fox segment. All right. Y'all can see it, right? Hey, David.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Now I want to see if y'all can hear it. I'm going to go back a little bit. All right. I'm going to let it play. Can you hear it?
Not really.
All right. Now let's see if you can hear it. Can y'all hear it?
No, it's nothing.
All right. Hold on for a second. I got one more idea before I do the other thing. Hold on.
Mm.
I forgot I had this thing up here. One moment. And there you are. Now let's see if you can hear it.
Never helped the poor. Kenny Hsu, the president of Color as United, also author of an.
Can you hear it now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's go back. All right. Let me get some volume in it. Okay. That should be it. All right. Here we go.
Convenient minority, the Harvard admissions case, and to achieve its stated.
It's roll back in real time, this regression in real time. This is the day where we understand that being judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin, is what our Constitution wants.
A new op-ed argues that decades of affirmative action failed to achieve its stated goal. That headline reads, "At last, Supremes strike down college admissions racism that has never helped the poor." Kenny Hsu, the president of Color as United, also author of An Inconvenient Minority, the Harvard admissions case, and the attack on Asian American excellence, joins me now. Kenny, thanks so much for being in the studio. It's great to have you here. Talk to me about your reaction, your personal reaction.
All right, hold on. Here's the first thing. So he calls Black people getting into Harvard an attack on Asian excellence. And by Asian excellence, he means Chinese. He don't mean the Filipinos. He don't mean the Japanese. He doesn't mean any of the other Asians. He don't even mean Indians from India. All right. First, I want you to understand that. And so he's saying that Black people, because that's what he calls us, aren't excellent and shouldn't be getting into Harvard. He is in agreement with the white guy that paid for this thing to happen and used this group, right? And now a bunch of other Asians are kind of concerned is because it's bad for it's a bad look for them, right? So let's continue.
Your organization's reaction to the ruling yesterday.
I think this is a great win for colorblind equality in our nation. You know, Asian Americans, we never wanted to be preferentially treated. In fact, despite history of discrimination in this country, Asian Americans have thrived in this country. We have the highest incomes, the highest education.
Oh, look at them. So Asians have thrived. They have the highest incomes, the highest education. Understand what he's saying. So F everybody else but the Chinese, and he means Chinese. Now he's using Asian American, right? Because he's trying to group all the rest of the Asians in with his group, but they're not having no part of it. If you pay attention to TikTok, so the Koreans came out and say no, they don't. He doesn't speak for us. The Filipinos came out and they said nope, he doesn't speak for them. All right, so he's speaking only for the Chinese. And if you go and look in the background, this is a Seoul Chinese group. And so that's why in my title I put Chinese, is because a lot of other Asians are upset that he would say Asian Americans, right? Now, he's saying that they were exceptional, they thrived, and he's lying about why they thrived. They thrived because white people redlined the Chinese into Afro neighborhoods and told them specifically that you cannot move into white neighborhoods. All right, I want y'all to understand that. And so much so that they can't buy property in Texas now. Certain property is off limits to them. All right. And so, and this is why I say racist, right? And so in this discrimination, a lot of Afro people have met discrimination at the hands of a lot of Chinese, and I can't even say the Koreans, because that at the nail shops, because we seen them BWs go in there and act a fool and stuff, and so you can't help with them acting a fool back, right? But as he breaks things down, you can see this. We are the highest educated. He sounds like the black females. We have the highest education. We have the highest this, and they're the ones that's making all these racist algorithms along with Caucasian people. I did a story about the racism in the algorithms and facial designs that's built in, and the computers are learning racism against Afro men in particular. That's by design. Remember, the computer does what it is programmed to do by whomever programmed it. And you're looking at these guys and Caucasians, the people that are primarily programming these computers. Primarily. Okay? Now, let's listen to more.
Team in our country, and it's not based on race, it's based on culture. I wish that.
All right, here's another thing. So he said it's not based on race, it's based on culture. But the culture of the United States is racism. And so when other people come in, all right, he come in, and the Asian people start taking they got most of the quotas from the, so when they came in, they benefited, and you see this. They used affirmative action and came in as minorities. They didn't fight for none of it. All right. It was Afro people marching in those streets. And then it was Afro people that included everyone in to which should have been our fight only. Because we were the ones whose ancestors was in chattel slavery, who had our towns burned, our finances stolen. All right. So we had wealth. We had most of our wealth stolen and still in banks today that Caucasians won't give us back, like in JP Morgan Chase banks. And all those banks that's in all of the, that was in all of the Black Wall Street thriving towns, all right, the Caucasians refused to give us the money back, give our ancestors their money back. So we could have built things up too, had people not massacred us routinely. But see, he don't give a damn, because what he cares about is one of his cohorts didn't get into Harvard, and so he's going to blame black people. But I call him out as being racist against Afro people, because if he was really about equality, then he would have said, and we need to abolish the legacy admissions. But he wouldn't say that because the legacy admissions primarily favor whites. And he's not touching that third rail. Legacy, you hardly have no other minority in the legacy admissions except for the Asians who've been getting there off of the backs of Afro people and whites. So let's listen to more what he has to say. And look at the code for racism, and black people aren't smart and they don't have no good culture, because these are the black women's talking points. The black women weaponize these against us. The black woman, think about this. The things that they were saying about the Afro men that turned out not to be true are now talking points that everybody is using against the entire Afro community, even them.
We could move as a culture to celebrate excellence of all skin colors instead of focusing on race as the criteria for entry.
What do you think about the impact of yesterday's ruling on Black American students?
I think that what affirmative action's ban is going to do is it's going to shed new focus on the pervading racial disparities in education going on in our country today. So Black Americans, they score comparatively low on standardized tests compared to white Americans, and that's been persistent for the past 40 years. In my new book, School of Woke, which is coming out in a month,
duking it out and fierce opposing.
So understand what he's saying. That Black Americans,
They all want to use that word.
Hold on. And hold on. Everything that we came up with, and I still like we need to wake up, right? It's something that white people in a fit of racism stole, like the rainbow, like everything else. When you look at all the things that was stolen from us that used to mean something good, and you see a group using it, you will find that the group that's using it is powerful white people with a lot of money. Look at all the groups. Remember, the alphabet group is 79% Caucasian, right? The Asian group, right here, the Chinese, prefer to identify as white. So much so there's bleaching products all over Asia. All right. So, and then when he used standardized tests, right? The standardized tests were designed specifically for white people to get ahead. The fact that we score anything on them at all, right? And why do they use white people's standardized test that was not designed purposely to disenfranchise Black people and say, well, they're stupid? I want y'all to understand something about this argument. Oh, let me let him put more of his foot in his mouth.
Whole thing worse, because she is defending Harvard's race-conscious admissions process that suggests that Asian Americans should be stereotyped. Harvard.
All right, and agent, now understand the hypocrisy and the liar. This is why I say he's a liar as well. Okay. A lot of these Asians use this thing to get into Harvard and only got angry at Afro people when one of them didn't get in, and he got mad and took this thing to the with the help of the white guy Edward Blum all the way to the Supreme Court. Now understand something else. If they wanted to really be equal, they would have gotten rid of the legacy admissions policy. When Afro people do get into Harvard, they deserve to be there. All right, this is what he's not saying, and this is why I say lying and racism in the public eye with a smile on his face, and he know he's lying. But when you don't have a conscience, and when you're not talking about equality, and when you are specifically doing this to move your race of people ahead, oh, he's talking only for the Chinese. Remember, when the civil rights movement was done by Afro people, we included all minorities. What he's doing right now, he's saying F every other minority. This is about Chinese people only, not even though they're Asians. He says Asian, but the group is Chinese people. And this is why you have the Koreans saying, no, they're not us. This is why you have the Filipinos being like, no, we ain't on that boat. All right?
Its admission process rated Asian Americans as lowest in personality out of all of the races because they want.
All right. Now, again, he's talking about how they're rated. So ask him to explain, how is it that 30% of the admissions of minority is Asian. Tell them to explain why is it that the Asians are the most admitted, whereas they outnumber every other group of minorities, except for white women, combined. You see what I'm saying? So what we have here is an artful liar
to stereotype Americans, Asian Americans. They wanted to lower the percentage of their student body, so they crafted this personality score that is inherently discriminatory. That is called racism to me. So,
argument against the ruling yesterday, it was long, but he essentially argued, look, special consideration is given to certain groups of students all the time. Legacy students, students whose parents can afford to hire SAT tutors and sports coaches and pay people to help them write better essays to get into schools. Why is that form of protection and special consideration okay, but the same is not okay when it's focused on minority students?
Well, it's not okay. Let's be honest. I'm president of Colorists United. We want a merit-based society. So I actually do support the end of legacy admissions, the end of special privileges for anybody. I want people to be judged by merit. And Harvard's affirmative action policies clearly don't, but neither do legacy admission.
Jackson duking it
now,
out.
hold on. Oh, let's hear this argument. So the black men and black women are at odds even in the Supreme Court. Why do you think they put her up there?
Opinions yesterday, directly calling each other out. Thomas blasted Jackson, saying her, quote, race-infused worldview falls flat at each step. Jackson dubbed the majority opinion a tragedy. On the other side of the aisle, Republicans applauding the court's decision. Listen.
All right, so there you have it. All right, so let's discuss. There you have a lot of what's going on. Let me see where I'm at. Okay, so brethren, there you have it. A lot of what's going on. I hope y'all were able to hear it. Right? All right. Now, a lot of Afro people have had this experience that no one has treated us worse in restaurants than we get treated at a lot of Chinese restaurants. But again, that's where it depends on where you're going. All right. Let's see. Asian excellence, yeah. So he meant to. He's saying Chinese. The group again is on nothing but Chinese, and they were paid for by this Caucasian dude, Edward Blum. All right. So let me bring that up here. All right. So let's go back to Edward Blum. All right. And if y'all want to pop in, the link is up in here because we're going to have, this is going to be a very open conversation, right? All right, hold on for a second. That ain't the one I want to. All right, so let's look at Edward Blum. And we'll discuss him real quick. So Edward Blum, hold on. All right, this guy, Edward Blum, right? So what he's been trying to do is disenfranchise Afro people from everything, right? Hold on. Let me get this straight. All right. He's been going after stuff for Afro people for a while. All right. And we can safely say he's one of the we've been dealing with this a lot of powerful people with money. All right. Right. And so basically what we have here is the Afro people have been under attack and they smell blood in the water. Why? Because even the Asians are starting to catch up to Black people, as we say in the United States. All right. So there is no political power because political power is based on population. Understand this again. There is no political power in the so-called Black community because political power is based on population. If you don't have a large enough population, then you're not going to have political power. All right. It's why gerrymandering Afro people out of power works so well. And yes, he is gloating. He was gloating, smiling, gloating, and stuff like that. And this is why I was saying racist, right? And remember, they chose to fight. Now you have more. If they would have gotten rid of legacy admissions, understand this. If they would have went after legacy admissions, right, then a whole lot more Asians would have been admitted. But no, this was to target Afro people to keep them from getting anything. All right, because they are trying to be the new Caucasians. It's trying to be the new white man. Right. And look at how they treated the Africans when they went over into that country, at their countries at first, until the Africans started to stand up for themselves. They wouldn't let them in. Hold on. Understand this. Understand the racism. The Chinese went over there to do these buildings and things, and then they wouldn't let them in buildings in their own country. They wouldn't let the Africans in the Chinese restaurants that they built in the African countries. I want y'all to let that sink in. They said everybody else could come and eat in our restaurant, but you can't. Hey, what's up, David Bowman? Oh, Dan and Daniel. All right. And so this is where
African. I got a delay or something. I don't know what that is. Pretty soon, Africans.
Hold on. Go ahead, speak. See if that's better.
Yeah, that's better. Africans won't even have a place in their own country. We're gonna be displaced in Africa.
Well, not really, because some of them are starting to wake up. And what it took for them to wake up is this LGBT agenda that they tried to push in Africa. Because the Africans finally start catching on. Wait a minute, you're trying to get our women to make us go extinct like you did the BW in the United States. We're not having it.
Well, Chinese people, the bosses, were actually beating the Africans with a stick if they was late to work. Did you see those videos? Yeah.
Yeah, and so no, they would catch some hands, especially in my country.
Yeah, but the Africans was afraid to beat them back.
No, you never get afraid, and that's the thing. When you get so greedy, You see what I mean? When you become so greedy that nothing matters to you, nothing more matters to you than money, then you lose dignity. And that's what's
Right.
happening to the BW. They're seen as worthless because they did all this stuff for vanity and greed. And now the brothers don't want them anymore. And remember, I said we need to have more children. I didn't say that the children have to be from them.
Right.
All right. We wouldn't have we wouldn't have political power anyway, because they're our adversary. They fight us in a relationship. And
Right.
whatever we want to do, they do the opposite. So why should we pick them?
Yeah.
Why should everything what they look at the condition of the community led by the females is abysmal. It's effed up in a way that it cannot be repaired, not with that group of women.
And they do it to their own demise. Like, for example, the other day when Umar Johnson was saying that we need to go and fix the community, it was like, I see they were interviewing they had the wrong people talking to Umar, because I would have said, wait a minute, you got 2 daughters by 2 babies' mamas that you never married, okay? And you telling us to go marry those people when you didn't do it yourself.
Right. But here's the thing. All those people, all right, here's the thing. And this is why I talk to the brothers. This is why I don't mind when my channel gets smaller. Because the Most High say we separate from dudes like Umar. All right. We're not supposed to let him have that policy for the clowns that's going to listen to him. But we're supposed to separate. We are supposed to create children, and we're supposed to get women that is not the BW, not any woman that's following and agreeing with Dr. Umar. Those are the exact women we need to stay away from. Period. We don't have nothing to do with them. They are poison to us. They're going to fight us. They're going to conflict with us on anything we do. They're not going to follow our lead, but expect us to lead while they be disobedient. And they're going to use the system to tear us down if we allow them to put any paper on us within that system. Oh, and boys, because they simp and they think we need to simp. And Dr. Umar, he ain't even simping. He's just a player. He's pimping, not simping.
Yeah, Boyce is simping. He went and married that woman after after all those years, she had all them children by another man, and now he on his hands and knees giving her a ring. It's crazy.
Yeah. But it's out of order. It's not biblical. And so he's out of order. So he shouldn't be respected. So he's simping and Dr. Umar is pimping.
Yeah, Boyce can't even have no children with that woman. She's too old.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. Africa is, and I'm going to tell you what Africa is doing. The people that's treated Africa the worst, bar none, is the Europeans. Right? The Europeans pretty much got their financial economy. The French countries are still sending their money back to France, needing permission from France to use their own money that's in French banks. All right.
Did you see that the president of France is trying to wants to set in on the BRICS meeting?
Right, and they tell them to get your behind on.
They didn't say nothing yet. I'm like,
oh no, I said here in Colombia, I saw a news clip. They like, nah, you need to move. You need to move around.
Yeah.
All right, and so you don't let spies into your stuff. All right.
Yeah.
And Africa need to block them from everything. The French government is the enemy of those Afro countries, the African countries whose money they steal on a regular.
Yeah.
Just like all right, they've done nothing but steal from Haiti, steal from them. No, the hypocrites. There is no justice when dealing with these countries. There is no justice. They don't believe in justice. All right. And when they say they're a country of laws, be careful. Just because they're a country of laws, they write the laws. They're only a
Right.
country of laws that they write and they change willy-nilly to fit how they're going to be unjust to everyone else.
Exactly.
Understand what that means? So when they say we're the country of laws, all right, that's so that they can be unjust and make you think, well, it's proper because we made a law. All right. So anybody else want to come in and talk about these issues? And so this is what we have going on here. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed, all right, do so. All right. But any brothers, and this is solely a conversation for brothers that kind of have the ear to what's going on and how we should spiritually do things. Now, understand this. David's bloodline could never be renewed, but the reason why Caucasians got us thinking that we're waiting from somebody from the line of David and how they crafted the Bible. Remember, the Septuagint and baptized a scribe. Some of y'all might remember the brother, right? Baptized a scribe used the Septuagint, and it's more accurate than any other thing that was written in English. Even the Catholic Bible is more accurate than the English one, right? But none of it is really accurate because what happened is Caucasians took it and scripted it to benefit them with the understanding that because something is written, understand this, because something is written, it causes us to forget what was written in our hearts. Remember, it said, hide the word in our heart that we might not sin against thee. Right? The word is not hidden in our hearts anymore. It's written down, and the only thing in our hearts is the corrupted part of the word that we knew. And we don't need it in writing. What we need to do is start reading the commandments. I mean, really reading them like a book. Don't read one, skip to another in another spot. Samuel's understanding is different from Isaiah, right? But the first thing you should do is read Exodus, Numbers, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy. All right. Get all that in there, and it'll give you a clearer understanding. Oh, and read Genesis too, starting at the 3rd chapter, right? All right. Read all of these of who the Most High is, what the commandments are, and what is expected of us. And then when you go read the prophets, you will see where people went wrong. You will see that David was not the apple of God's eye. That David cursed his family when he slept with Uriah's wife permanently, because he kept doing it. Solomon was a curse to Israel. He wasn't the wisest. That's what somebody wrote in the book, but he was a curse to Israel. He divided it, right? But all of this happened because in Samuel, 1 Samuel 8th chapter, we said, give us the king to rule over us like everybody else. Samuel said, this thing is evil. We said, we don't care. The Most High said, tell them what they have won. Or in this case, tell them what they will win. Right? And so as the Most High was speaking, what was going to happen to our farm, our land, our children, our sons, our daughters? We said, yeah, but we want to be like the Joneses. Right? And so we got a king, and the only good king who even slipped up, and y'all aren't going to understand this, but the only good king that Israel ever had that really didn't mess up the nation, but really made the nation stronger was Saul. Saul was the only good king. All right. David was chosen after, and he would have been good, except he did what was heinous, and he should have died for it. But instead, the Most High, he let him stay because the Most High said they wanted a king, so they got an adulterer as a king. All right, and Israel had been effed up ever since. But what we believe in Scripture is not the truth. And if people had the commandments in their heart, they would understand how to read the Bible. And you don't trust a translation by people who persecuted you and enslaved you and then tried to mind wipe you with what they write. So that nation can get up here and say, well, according to standardized tests were designed by white people for white people.
Mm.
All right. But again, all right, these are racists that are seeking power. All right. And he's done the Asian community a big disservice because it woke everyone up to who they really are, especially the Chinese Americans. All right. And this is what really sucks. What he did is try to pull all the rest of the Asians in with him, but they are separating. They're like, no. You and that one by yourself.
Yep.
All right. And he's not going to have any allies either. And the reason why he's not going to have any allies in the Asian community is everybody knows that when the Afro people fought for these things, they included all minorities to include the Asians. And in a fit of racism and rage against Afro people, because one of them didn't get their way, they went after the people who were least affected by affirmative action and who is going to be most harmed by affirmative action is going to be white women.
Mm.
White women are the most harmed by this. And then next is going to be the Asians.
Yeah.
Which means that a lot more Caucasian will be able to come in. And when he was talking about the criteria that they use, that Asians have no personality. All right. Remember he said that? Asians have no personality, right?
Yeah.
Do you know who's going to take up that space now? Caucasians.
Yeah.
All right. The very people that he allowed to use him to go against Afro people are the ones he empowered to take all them spots that Asian people were getting. Because let me tell you how this works. A lot of Afro people aren't applying to Harvard anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not. They don't want nothing to do with Harvard, Yale, Princeton. And then it's not just Harvard, but a lot of them, primarily black females. The only people that are applying to Harvard and all that are people that want to get into business politics and legal politics, but politics, right? The rest of the Afro people are going to other schools. They want the Afro experience.
Mm.
All right. I went to a HBCU, even though I got a degree from a Ivy League school, but I wanted to go to a HBCU. And the Ivy League school came as a direct result of my service in the military. George Washington University. All right. And so basically, I wanted to go to and I just wanted to go to learn to see what black professors had to teach. And I wasn't disappointed. I was disappointed about the Afro student population, but the professors was on point. I liked the education that I got. Okay. And so, no, you don't have a lot of, my sister can tell you, I had offers because I was Phi Theta. And remember, I asked y'all, and y'all helped me out with the decision whether I should join Phi Theta Kappa, because I didn't want to join no fraternity, but I wanted to make sure I understood the difference between, it was a, what do you call it? When you get all A's and they asked you to join us, it was an honor society for honor students, right? But I asked y'all about this, right? Because I wasn't joining no fraternity. So I asked y'all about that. And let me tell you about these honor societies, because one of the dudes broke it down. He said, "Yeah, join it, because a whole lot of stuff is going to open up." Right? I got John because my thing was science and medicine. Right? I got offers from Johns Hopkins University, a bunch of black ones, Duquesne, Cornell. All right, but yeah, but I might have gone, but anthropology, I was like, I don't need no more of this Caucasian education. And I really didn't need it. I was close to retiring. But anyway, so with that said, right? With that said, this is not going to hurt Afro men in the least bit, because even though we were the ones whose leaders were assassinated, right? Who were barred from using affirmative action. All right. And they barred us from using it by using the black woman and the white woman and the Asian. All right. So this dude with his big smirk, oh, yeah, we kept the black people out. No, you disenfranchise primarily the white woman. And then you disenfranchise primarily other Asians. There wasn't enough Afro people trying to get into Harvard that had the grades and the SAT scores to be a bother to you. All right. Now, I will say this. To people, if you to okay, to those raising children, there is a workaround for Afro people. All right. What Harvard will allow you to do and will consider it is if, like, this is how I would do it. If I wanted to go into Harvard, this is how I would do it. I would use my experience as an Afro man about how they know that everything by design, and I would use a lot of research in my essay. Everything by design has been designed to disenfranchise Afro people. Many of the people, although there are good ones in good groups, look to disenfranchise Afro people. But despite that, I knew that there was ways in the system and things that I could learn that would give me an edge, not to learn merely to get into Harvard, but an edge to educate myself, to be well aware of what's going on, how the world works. And let's say I was pre-med school in medicine, this, that, and the other, and then I would take it there. Because if you're smart enough as an Afro person to have straight A's and have a high score on the SATs, ACTs, or whatever they're going to use, all right, if you learned the Caucasian system that well, you went through a lot of hurdles. All right. And I would name them all. First of all, you're probably going to be the product of the single mom. Right? You're going to be a product of the single mom where because of what your goals were, she would not be able to offer you a lot of help. See, understand how that works. She could not offer you help because it's like the father that never didn't take algebra, and your teenage daughter start bringing it home. You knew how to get them through multiplication and all the rest of that stuff, but then they start bringing these square boxes. Like, what the hell is this? Or calculus. At that point, you can't help them anymore directly. You can only help them by giving them space to study, getting them the materials that they need, right? And so what they can do is, yeah, my father provided material, or in this case, I got the material. And a lot of times, the especially for young girls and stuff, unless the mom could live vicariously through them, she's going to be the roadblock, right? So this is what you need to understand. There are ways around what happened. So you don't need to fret. But what this did do is it took away the Asian advantage, right? And with this workaround, it's going to take it away more. Because understand this, who is more likely to get in now? The Asians? Think about this. Who is more likely to get into Harvard? The Asians that just sued you and cost you a lot of money, where they took your policies all the way up to the Supreme Court? Or the Afro people that said, well, we just wanted an opportunity. It was a struggle, but I persevered, got this high SAT, kept a 4.0. Who do you think that Harvard is going to say is more worthy to get in? The sense of entitlement where you go and sue the university because one of your guys didn't make it is going to backfire in such a way that I don't think this dude sees it coming. He did a real disservice to the Asian community, thinking he advantaged the Chinese community. All right. So anybody else want to pop in and had anything to add? Anybody else have anything to add? Because if not, I'm about to shut it down. Oh, and let me remind y'all, share this live, right? Share this live stream. All right. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And my donation links, I think, are still in this description box. So if you would like to help me with all the stuff that I'm doing outside of the US, it is most appreciated. But remember, you take care of yourself and family first. Take care of your needs first, right? Right. And so this is another thing, right? And so they're alienating a lot of people. And I don't think they see it. But this thing has alienated a lot of people. And this Caucasian man, Mr. Edward Blum, just used Kenny Yu as a puppet. And Kenny Yu he's not going to see the trauma that's about to come. All right. So with that said, I'm out. Peace, love, and soul, everybody. I will holler at you later. All right. Remember, all my stuff is in the description box. And I'll be doing a lot more lives. Man, I'm doing all right. It's just that the internet was spotty and I was moving around to a lot of places to give out a lot of things, and I've been a lot tired lately. So, and I met a female here in Colombia. She got me to relax a little bit. Actually, a lot of it. So yeah, there's that. So let's see. Where'd she get this other picture from? So that's basically it. Let's see. So yeah, so I'm about to bust a move, and I'll holler at y'all later, and I'll be doing a lot more of these. Peace.